Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily, as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition, and we turned out to poem 507. She sights a bird, she chuckles. Now, this is another riddle poem in many ways. It's back to poems 60 and 72 and 173 and 247 and 311. It's also another poem about missing out. I love this poem because it's so simple, and yet she says something in this poem that I think captures the longing that so many of us have for the things that we'll never be able to get. And obviously for Emily, this might be the respect that she was longing for, especially as a poet, in terms of never actually publishing her stuff and being well known. Now, our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked through the previous set of introductory comments as well as all of the preceding lectures. We just finished with 506, He Touched Me So I Live Now. Now, this is a word picture about a cat stalking a bird. However, the commentary on nature and the power of nature is, I think, sitting at this one. This is another example as well of how Emily loves to move, as we've said so many times before, from the simple to the complex. She begins with just a simple observation, and it moves to the complex. Although I will say that my Emily group read this poem for the very first time, and they just assumed that the she that's repeated in that anaphoric first three lines was Emily herself, and by the time they got to the second line in crawls, they were already making the connection to Gilman's Yellow Wallpaper because of our study there. And then, of course, they discovered, oh, okay, this is about a cat trying to catch a bird, a robin, and the bird is able to escape. I want you to pay attention right away at 2b to the 9 verbs that Emily builds this poem around. She sights a bird, she chuckles, she flattens, then she crawls, she runs without the look of feet, her eyes increase to balls. Her jaws stir, twitching, hungry. Her teeth can hardly stand. She leaps, but robin leaped the first. Ah, pussy of the sand, the hope so juicy ripening. You almost bathed your tongue when bliss disclosed 100 toes and fled with everyone. Now, the beauty of this poem is that I think Emily can be doing two things at the same time. First of all, what do we say about great poets? Well, they show, they don't tell. This is a classic example of that. So, for example, early on, she doesn't even tell us that what we're looking at is in fact a cat who is trying to catch the bird. Can we just say out loud that Emily's got this amazing eye for movement? And of course, many, many scholars have pointed out that Emily's genius resides in her capacity to catch movement, as she does in this poem, with just a few lines. Notice, first of all, she'll begin with the sight. She sights a bird. Later we'll find it's a robin. She chuckles. The only time in all of Emily's poetry that she uses the word chuckles is here, and it's about a cat. Now, many of you who are cat lovers will say, that's the perfect word to describe the movement of the body of a cat as she's getting ready to start her approach to her prey. She flattens. Notice all the dashes to help. Then she crawls. She runs without the look of feet. Her eyes increase to balls. I mean, you know, in other words, you've seen a cat's eye as they start to focus and lock in. And then her jaws stir, right? In other words, we're getting ready for the pouncing. Twitching, dash. Hungry, dash. And then her teeth can hardly stand. Now, this is, of course, brilliant, right? Can't stand, as in the excitement that is a part of what's about to happen. She leaps. And finally, the robin leaped the first. By the way, notice that we move from the present tense, she leaps, to the past tense, leaped the first. It's brilliant the way it works. And then we've got this pussy of the sand. Now, some scholars have pointed out that this pussy takes her back to her study of Burns's To a Mouse. You'll remember, but mousy, thou art know thy lane. We've given full lectures on To a Mouse at learnstrong.net if you're interested. Pussy of the sand. In other words, the cat is somehow rooted as the bird takes flight, as the robin takes flight. Then, notice capitalized, the hopes so juicy ripening. Now, this is, guys, why we do more than just read one or two Emily poems. So you'll remember back when we did 254, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. You'll remember that hope is described as a bird in the middle of a storm. So here we're back to the bird and hope, but notice now we've got it flipped. The cat's hopes are dashed. The hopes, so juicy ripening, you almost bathed your tongue. So notice the focus shifts, and now she's talking directly to the kitty. You almost bathed your tongue. Of course, the word almost is a powerful word once we read this poem symbolically, which I think Emily would want us to do as well. When bliss, notice capitalized, disclosed 100 toes. Now, originally she played around with the word wings, that is to say the robin is flapping its wings, but she decided to stay with toes. Obviously, the bird can fly faster than the mouse, than the cat can run. Of course, the cat, she takes this perspective of the cat. The cat is watching the bird and sees what? Well, the underside of the bird. And here, the idea of the flapping of the wings is like looking at a bunch of 100 toes, and fled with everyone. Now, when we get to poem 762, we'll play around with this idea of almost having something and then losing it. She says it this way: the whole of it came not at once. 'Twas murder by degrees, a thrust, and then for life a chance, the bliss to cauterize. Notice bliss used here. The cat reprieves the mouse. She eases from her teeth just long enough for hope to tease. We're back to hope. Then mashes it to death. 'Tis life's award to die. Contender, if once, then dying half, then rallying for consular eclipse. This idea then is, what exactly is the message of a poem like this? I think her point is that it's hard to try so hard for something that you want so badly and then not to get it. Your hopes are in some ways dashed. And to be, again, all of the verbs come to mind: sight, chuckles, flattens, crawls, runs, increase, stir, stand. 3a, we've mentioned this poem 762, which I think is a brilliant poem. We'll come back to this poem when we do 762. Finally, to own a poem like this, what was a time when you missed your robin, when you missed out, and you had to kind of learn to live with not having the hope anymore of wanting the thing you long for? Thank you.